I mean live. It's just recording that. Live in heaven. We're live in heaven. So today we were going to talk a bit about.
I'm in share.
Thank you for bringing the introductory music. So today we're going to try to speak a bit about the fact that we are all meant actually to be prophets. Okay? Mamlechet Kohanim ve'Goy Kadosh. He says in the Torah there was supposed to be a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. So I think today we have come to such a level we know prophecy officially stopped 2,000 years ago with the beginning of the first temple, where the last real prophet was full force, 100% kosher prophecy, OU certified. That was in it was in time of Micha, what was the last of the prophets. Really, it was part of the Anshe Knesset Agdola. That was the beginning of the second temple. So now,
So wait, all people after that you're saying are liars?
No, not necessarily liars. But there was no more prophecy in the way people were not prophesying. There were no actual prophet. I'm sending you a message from God in a public way like it used to be. So that's, unless you believe in Jesus and stuff like that. But that's what?
Can they come back in these years?
Yeah. So one of the things that Al Chazal is saying is that is teaching us is that at the end of time, prophecy is going to be restored. Okay, little by little.
Not before that. It's not like someone's gonna wake up.
No, before the end, meaning it's
before Google.
It's right before Armageddon or whatever, the end of Gog and Magog. Or maybe it happened as Gog and Magog is happening. Some say Gog and Magog already happened. Some say it's not happened yet. Some say we're in the middle of it. All types of theories. Yeah, it really doesn't matter so much. We know the world is going through tremendous process, and but the key is not to be too focused on Moshiach at the end, because if you're too focused on Moshiach in the end, it's not going to help you. On the contrary, it's much worse. You're not going to do your job, right? The whole Christianity started from the fact that I cannot save myself, so I have someone else doing the job for me. It's like a scapegoat.
What?
It's not taking responsibility for my sins, for my problems, for my mistakes. I'm saying, but you know what? Jesus is going to take care of it for me.
Yeah, but didn't Christianity not start like that? Christianity started as just different than Judaism, like a conservative movement.
Yeah, in many ways.
400 years later, it became Christianity. Today.
Right. Paul and Matthew, they took
Same
but Paul and Matthew were the first ones who kind of
diverted it.
Which is the thing that I find absurd is that they didn't even know Jesus. They came 100 years later.
So it's like 400 almost.
More than 100? I don't know the exact dates, but they didn't even. So they took whatever teaching they thought was coming from there, which anyways are teaching from Judaism. Jesus was putting on tefillin, he was keeping kosher, he was keeping Shabbos. It was afrei meyeh, like we'll say today. But somehow they're not trying to be like their leader. But the whole idea is that.
Like he wrote things down, and that's how
No,
they got the information.
there's nothing written down.
How did it pass on all the way to them?
They started writing stuff
Yeah.
in 70 to 300 something years.
So it's possible he didn't even exist?
Correct.
They just made it up?
Yes.
No.
Almost everything that he actually existed, but it can be, it's like starting a Hasidus from someone that, you cannot make them. So that's why it's almost no sages that never ever wrote anything. We know all our sages because they wrote something. So
It's complicated because Christianity didn't become Christianity we know today till I think it was between 200 to 400
That's
years
true.
after. It was St. Peter that changed it,
Right.
which he was officially a Rav. He was actually a Rav that realized that a version of, like, I don't know if you know conservative movement nowadays, think conservative, right? Reform is the further away one, conservative
Right.
closer.
Yes.
Conservative, a lot of conservative temples right nowadays have Orthodox rabbis.
Right. True.
For the reason
Correct.
being that none of the people have enough of knowledge to be a rabbi.
Right.
So a lot of them are hiring Orthodox rabbis for that reason alone, trying to come closer to Judaism instead of falling
Which
further away.
Orthodox rabbi is going to be?
No, a lot of them, a lot of conservative temples,
Then,
especially.
according to the conservative, they think that person's Orthodox.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Why that rabbi is
No,
going
no, no.
about the
Why
Jew,
you? No. Why you people, students who have semicha, a lot of times are hired by these conservative temples as rabbanim,
and they're
and they're actual rabbanim.
Right.
part of the
have
community and
smicha.
everything.
So they try, but what is two benefits from this? One is that they find themselves not falling as much away from Judaism. Two is the rabbis actually have an opportunity to influence people to bring them closer to Judaism, which is very cool.
Right. It's a type of kiruv.
You see,
also.
Christianity was the same thing. St. Peter which went the other way. He said separate the two religions to make
Right.
sure this, because you used to put on tefillin on Sunday. You used to put tefillin on. You had Shabbos became Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
So Shabbos
Right.
is still
That's
Shabbos
also-
then. He changed Shabbos to Sunday, so it should be similar to Judaism.
Right.
So people shouldn't
right.
stray about thinking it's the same thing.
Yeah, and then you have the whole Constantine thing that he brought paganism connected to Christianity. Anyway, we're not going to go into that, but it's a whole thing itself.
It's a very cool.
The idea is that prophecy stopped. How did prophecy stop? Do you know how prophecy stopped? It stopped when the Anshe Knesset Agdola prayed for Avodah Zarah to end. That's the Gemara says. Every energy, every powerful quality of energy has positive and negative.
Negative.
So that energy that was used for prophecy brought the people to run after a spiritual source, a need, almost like, I'm thirsty. So thirsty for something spiritual. Prophecy takes a lot of work. But we know there were millions of people trying to be prophets. It was schools of prophecy. It was not just like, it's one prophet. No. It was, I'm going to college. I'm going to college for prophecy. It was the common thing.
But also, is the same way there was prophecies, there was the negative part was right.
Right. The whole
That
thing of Avodah Zarah and the pull towards the negative forces.
Was actual prophecies also.
Right. So trying to connect to that energy, but through dark forces, through the,
Wait, does black magic still exist?
Yes, absolutely. Black magic
But what's
very
the-
much exists, much more
what's
than when we
the
think.
Positive of that? What's
What?
the positive of black magic though?
No, the positive is the same energy that comes from the desire to connect to something
Black magic.
spiritual. That's
More than enough. It's not really it's not an equal.
no, on the contrary. The force of evil are as tangible and powerful as the force of purity. It's just much easier to access. The problem is that if once you access that, it's a shortcut because it's much easier to sin than not to sin, right? So that's the whole Bilam.
Sing or sin?
Sin.
Oh,
No,
this is
sin.
sing.
Sin.
I was like-
Bilam, he says he used to sleep with his donkey. Well, I find it.
Are you surprised?
No, I'm not surprised. I mean, the world that we have today, it makes Bilam seem normal almost. But to be a prophet, so let's see, how do we achieve prophecy? Okay. I have to finish a statement. Is that the Gemara says that when prophecy left, then it was reserved, or it was split, so to speak. That energy, it could still be found in children, in crazy people, and in sages.
Wow. The sages are lumped in with the other two groups.
Right. So meaning that you have that flow of potential connection with God that is very, very, but now it took a different direction. Before it was like spread out to anybody who wants to connect. Now you can only find in very specific.
Who
place.
says that?
That's the Gemara in Brachos.
The Gemara says that crazy people or
Yeah.
that Hashem Dafka wants to. No one's gonna listen to them.
Well, that's why it's so.
Well,
So,
they don't
no,
get
sometimes the
listened.
person is mental, and sometimes it's actual prophecy.
No, right.
Right. So that's a challenge.
But it says to crazy people.
Yes, crazy people.
Interesting. Or whatever to people.
That's
when
why
you
when
think they're crazy.
I hear someone is crazy, I say, oh, I want to meet him. Because sometimes you'll be surprised.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Alright, so I know a lot of prophets.
No, not all of them. Right?
So
So,
that's why you're a prophet.
so the idea is that we have still access to it in certain ways, not on the level as before, meaning real prophecy. Right, prophecy is usually only experienced when you're in sleeping or when you are not conscious, meaning your body is not able to withstand the intensity of the revelation. So usually they describe it as an epileptic experience. When you converse, you know, like people go into trance, like in South Africa, or not South Africa, in Africa or in South America, or by the Native Americans, they would do those trance thing, or ayahuasca.
Oh my God, Rabbi,
so
last week.
You went to ayahuasca thing?
No, they had the ayahuasca thing at the thing. The place was when we came there in the morning. I came there like 12 o'clock. 1 o'clock, the people were slumbering out of it.
Yeah.
Well, Friday morning?
It was positive or negative? Like crazy? Something crazy?
Well, Friday morning
people
or
were
what?
crazy.
Sunday morning.
Honestly, people are
Yeah,
crazy.
you have to be careful because sometimes it's.
Friday morning.
Yeah,
They did it Thursday night.
So listen to what the Esh Kodesh says. You know the Esh Kodesh, the Piaseczner Rebbe, the Rebbe from the ghetto of Warsaw. He's more known as from his book Chovos HaTalmidim, Student Obligation, and a few other books. But okay, so he says like that. He says, if you are, he said, if you are discouraged because your immediate ancestry is undistinguished, lift yourself up and gaze beyond, deeper in your past. You are descended from holy men and women, from prophets. The Talmud states that the people of Israel, if they are not prophets themselves, are at least the children of prophets. This suggests that even now, a spark of the prophetic power of his ancestors is to be found within every Jewish child. That spark, the soul, is lit up with prayer. Okay? So, he's saying that we clearly, is like you have in your family, you have a lot. Can you put it on silent for the notification?
Yes.
Thanks. So it means that all the things, when you're descended from a certain, even like people who are very spiritual, you have your grandmother, she knows how to do the Ain Hara stuff, all that. Usually it's passed down.
Right.
It used to be very much like that with witches or people or mediums, people who have those gifts. It very much stays in the family. So same thing with prophecy. It's saying it's in our genes. We are meant. When you wake up in the morning, is there people? So what's your goal in life? I want to become a prophet. That's our goal. Because what's a prophet? A prophet is someone who is so intimate with God that he receives messages and is able to help humanity with it. As a Jew, that should be our ultimate goal. What am I doing today? I'm working on myself to achieve a level of prophecy. Right? The prophecy is now telling us that food is ready. Okay. Yeah. So it's very important to understand that this is our. It's a new way of thinking, right? And one very important concept that here he brings is that you want to start reaching prophecy, you need to enhance the way you pray. Your prayer, the Siddur, a Siddur is, Siddur comes from Seder. Seder is an order. Is the order on how to ascend world, to go into the paradise, so to speak. Pshat, Remez, Drash, and Sod, right? The 4 levels, the 4 levels of consciousness, 4 levels of connecting deeper and deeper in meditation, 4 phases, until you reach the point where you actually connect to the spiritual world and able to receive. That's why you're Jewish. Ish. Why are you Jewish? You're Jewish because you're meant to be a light into the nation, right? Mamleches Kohanim and God Kadosh. For who?
Mm-hmm.
For others. One of the biggest misunderstood thing of Judaism is that we not need Jews for the Jews. I mean, yes, we have to be Judaism for Jews or Jews for Jews, but we're not here, right, to be for ourselves. Yeah, I'm Jewish, and therefore, that's the best thing in the world. No. I'm Jewish because they are non-Jews. If there's no non-Jews, there's no need for Jews. It's something that is misunderstood, and we think, oh, we're so special. No, you're nothing special until you elevate everyone with you. That's what makes you special. So, we have created, because of exile and all that, we have created separation between the Jews and the non-Jews, so much so that Judaism had created, non-Jews are evil and the devil, and we are holy, and therefore we should not mix or anything, and that's...
Made with my love.
Riches.
6 months old.
So we have to understand that we're meant to be prophets, and we know that because we have even Eov, right, who is a prophet, and the whole story of Eov is he's a prophet for who? For the Goyim. He goes to was Nineveh? No, it's not Nineveh. He goes to what was the city?
Nineveh.
Yeah, Nineveh. It was Nineveh. That's what I'm thinking. So we even have a whole prophecy from Eov. I mean, the story of
Yonah
of
from
prophet. Yonah. Okay, that's why I'm. No, Eov is okay.
It was not.
No, Eov is Job. Job. I get mixed up with the Hebrew and English. Yeah. What do you say? Yonah was a prophet, and we read that story every Rosh Hashanah.
Was Yonah a Jew?
Yom Kippur.
No.
No, he was not. No, Yonah was a Jew. But he was a prophet for Nineveh, who was a city of non-Jews. At the time, at least.
Cool.
So the idea is that we have to realize that not only we have prophets for Jews, meaning we are meant to be leaders for our own nation on what to do and how Hashem communicates with us. By the way, do you know why we had so many prophecies, like the 48 prophets? Why we're not supposed to have all the books of the Nevi'im. We're not supposed to have that. No, it was supposed to end up with Yeshua. We're supposed to have the Chumash, and then Yeshua with the conquering the land, and that's it. That was our door. The whole thing of the Nevi'im is because we misbehaved, and Hashem was trying to guide us, our prophecy for our own people. Mm-hmm. When really, the whole point is that we behave, and we become role models, prophets for the rest of the world. Mm-hmm. So it was a complete split in a way, and because of that, our Judaism has become just for Jews. Right. When yes, we have the 613 commandments, but we have a responsibility. The Rambam says, Hashem said, you, Moshe, you have to go teach the 7 commandments of Noah's commandments to the world. That's why you're Jewish. You're supposed to bring people to believe in me, to believe in one God, and you're the nation in charge of doing that. So being a prophet is also understanding that responsibility as a Jew towards others, that being a role model. Now,
It's still hot.
yeah, I'll take a few.
Then I sleep for no reason.
Yeah. So sorry. I don't want to miss the holy stuff, So, I have to elevate the food. Mm-hmm. Make sure that it's.
It's a piece of sauce. That's my piece of sauce.
Okay, let's elevate some food. I was just teaching actually yesterday about how the Baal Shem Tov explains that everything has a spark, meaning, and there's certain things that you're going to be, Hashem is going to put in your way, and you're going to be attracted to it. because that sparks
Like
correspond
girls?
to your soul. Well, sometimes in girls, like Gefet Torah is sometimes
Right.
girls. But the idea is that why do you like macaroni and cheese, or maybe you don't like macaroni and cheese? So that means that you don't have sparks to elevate in macaroni and cheese. But if you love macaroni and cheese, that means you might have sparks in there. Doesn't mean it happens all the time, but Hashem says, if you're aware of that Hashem is involved in your life, and different places where you go in life, and what you like, the type of color, what you like that shirt instead. I like H&M, I don't like Gucci. I like Prada, but I don't like Armani Exchange. Why you have that desire for those things? Well, sometimes you influence and you've been conditioned by how many advertisement hours you have watched. But sometimes it's actually a spark. I like this specific shirt or that specific design. That's because there's a spark connected to your soul that when you know wear it, it's going to elevate that spark. And there's a reason why we Jews are in different places in the world. It says the first reason we had in Egypt because most of the sparks had fallen there. So we started there, and if you go in places like the North Pole, South Pole, or there's nobody because there's no sparks to elevate there. So that the idea of sparks. So maybe there's some of sparks of my soul in there. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei minei mezonos. I think I feel some sparks.
Is that overcooked? Is it?
Pasta, so.
Is it overcooked?
No, it's al dente.
Overdone?
No,
Perfect?
opposite.
Under
Yeah,
perfect?
it's
Under-
al
It's al
dente.
dente.
Al dente. It's good.
I don't know. I'm not the chef. I just threw it in the oven.
It's nice.
They didn't even tell me how
That's
much.
probably why they make it
They-
undercooked so it cooks more.
They didn't tell me how long to put it in either.
Was this already, it was
Okay.
done, no? You warmed it up.
Sorry for the.
I didn't cook it.
Want to elevate some sparks. So
Mm-hmm.
Fireworks time.
Everybody take it with you.
yeah, sure.
Leftovers, no? No.
I mean, I can bring in it Manhattan when I cross Manhattan, drop it to the homeless people.
Yeah, why not? They'll have it.
Tell them you're a rabbi.
You would love it.
Exactly. Actually, I just on the way here, I gave some tzedakah to someone, with a thing like so he gave me a blessing. Sometimes you don't know. Maybe it's Eliyahu Navi dressing up as a, and you get a blessing from Eliyahu Navi.
I have no idea.
I tell you,
Is it the right thing to give these people money?
it's the right thing to always give something, even if it's 25 cents or $1. I think it's
But what
the
if they're
muscle.
gonna curse you instead?
What?
What if they're gonna curse you? Like,
No,
"Oh, I
so
just gave
so
you that."
I try to give
Yeah, you
$1. I be at least if I don't have $1, I give 25 cents. I won't give pennies because it's more.
No, that thing's
disrespectful.
ridiculous.
I think that's disrespectful.
Of course.
Well, I mean, like they'll take anything though, no?
No, sometimes I give
No.
food. I love to give food first. Because they say I'm hungry, I'm homeless, so I give them food. That's the best, or I buy them dinner. That's the ideal way to do. But because otherwise they might be used for drugs, something like that.
That counts as tzedakah, to give them food instead of money?
Absolutely, 100%. 100%.
One time a guy came over to me, he's like, I'm collecting money. I was like, for what? He's like, I want a beer. I'm like, no problem.
Yeah, no, and listen, you allow someone to survive. Some drink they need alcohol to
No,
survive.
it's a different story. Like, if the guy's honest about it, I'm okay to give it to him.
Right, yeah. And you're like I need money for pot or like for stuff like that, to buy myself the Gucci shoes. No. Anyway, so I want to bring something to your attention. Why, if you ask yourself, there's a ladder. Why are you created? What's the goal of life? What's the goal of life? So the Ramchal, okay, Ramchal says the goal of life is to achieve the highest possible pleasure. You're here because God created you to achieve the highest possible pleasure. That's as much as we know in terms of the why we're created. But we know it's meant to be something positive and extremely pleasurable and powerful. Now, what is that highest possible pleasure? The highest possible pleasure is God Himself. God Himself is the pleasure. Every pleasure in this world is a sample of what it means to have pleasure with God. Okay? So, because we need to know, give me some sample, you can make me wait 120 years and I need something. So God is not that, He's open. Say, okay, I'll give you some sample. You know, experience love, experience, you know, intimacy, experience, you know, food, macaroni, like, you know, French croissant, stuff like good stuff, and the beauty of the world and butterflies and whatever, art, music, all that stuff. So all those things are part of the puzzle of what it means to be one with God, what we will experience when we're with God. So why, that's what God wants. Now, how do we achieve that? By coming as close as possible, as close to God as possible. The more we get closer to God, the more we have the ability to experience that thing. Now, where are we going to experience that? Ultimately, the full power of that will only be experienced in Olam Haba. Here, however, says the Ramchal and a few others, you can start having an experience of what being in Olam Haba is. You can have a taste of Me'ein Olam Haba, right? You can experience a taste of love of God when you love your spouse. You can have a taste of God being your father when you have your own child. Everything here is an experience. All those pleasures, you get a sample of wow, and that's only 1/60th, so to speak, right? So we're talking. You know, there's some say there's the pleasure of Olam Haba. It's the pleasure of sex is 1/60th of the pleasure of Olam Haba.
Oh yeah, huh?
Yeah. So imagine 60 times an orgasm. That's like very intense. So, but that's on a physical thing. We cannot even understand what it means. But it's to understand really the idea that everything that God does for us is really an opportunity to reach that. Now, when you look at the world with all the pain, the problem, the suffering, the trauma, the abuse, all that stuff, it doesn't look like that's what's happening. But it is. Like, you know, when it's night, they say it doesn't look like days coming, but days will come. So there's a cycle, and we know sometimes they need surgery, and sometimes they need a process, and sometimes it's not our fault, sometimes it's part of the global thing. But there's nothing that doesn't happen for a specific reason, and nothing doesn't happen that will lead us to that ultimate purpose, experience of pleasure in Olam Haba, be one with God. Now, what's the best way to achieve that thing in Olam Haba and to have a taste of it here on earth? Prophecy. Being a prophet. Being a prophet is, who was the closest man to God in this world was Moshe Rabbeinu, according to most opinion. I think we say he was the most humble, but that's what's required to achieve prophecy, is to have tremendous humility in the sense that you allow yourself to be a vessel for God.
So let's say in Bilam's case,
what?
He gets pleasure
Bilam?
also? Yeah.
Bilam gets pleasure through the forces of darkness, but those are destructive pleasures. It's not like someone taking drugs, but his body is getting
I'm
destroyed.
assuming he still has free choice, right? So if he starts doing good
he has
stuff,
free choice. Oh yeah, he could to tshuva.
Do we really have free choice?
Yeah.
Yes, we are told according to most every rabbi that yes, we have free choice. Some hold. An example is the Piaseczner Rebbe, the one that Rav Shlomo Carlebach quotes a lot, the Ishbitzer Rebbe. Not the Piaseczner Rebbe, the Ishbitzer Rebbe, who was the student from the Kotzker Rebbe. So he says, and many others say that really we don't have free choice. Free choice is an illusion. But we have still to act as if we have free choice, because at the end you're gonna be judged based on what you decide. So if I decide not to do something good, I'm gonna be good. So the idea is that I'm gonna be, whether or not a free choice doesn't matter. Whatever you decide now, at the end is what's gonna be the consequence of what your choice is. You're gonna be judged as if you had total free choice. So don't put yourself in a situation, right? Where you are not gonna have that free choice, that good choice. So that's the position, one way to do it. And some say even that you don't have free choice as what you choose, only how you react to things that are happening to you. Okay, that's a concept some people say.
It's interesting.
And another approach is God knows the beginning, God knows the end. What's in between, how you get there, It depends on you. You can take that type of path, like chess game.
But how is
You
that?
can do all those things. At the end, you know all the moves that are possible to do, but you know where you have to reach. You checkmate, and that's up to you how fast you want to do
So
it.
better question.
Yeah.
Is that he knows the beginning and end of every single task or your life?
Well, he knows everything.
Well, yeah. The
Kabbalists
Kabbalists hold that he knows absolutely every detail, everything that you're going to choose,
But he gives,
because he knows you so
always have the
well.
option of two things, or
What?
even multiple things. You always have an option.
God
It's
has
like,
both scenarios.
Right.
you wake up in the morning, you have the option to either
Stay in bed or
stay
go
in
out.
bed or be unproductive, or
Right.
you still have a choice of that. Right?
So they say Akol b'di shamayim. Okay, so that's what the Gemara says directly. Akol b'di shamayim chutz yad shamayim. That really you don't have free choice in anything, rich or not, on this girl or not. At the end, the only free choice you have is whether you are gonna choose good from bad in whatever you have that type of choice in your life. Choosing good from bad. That's the Yad Shamayim. It's not even just that. The Yad Shamayim is if you choose to see God in your life or not. And make the choice based on that, to be in awe of God, act as if there's God, because it depends how you describe Yad Shamayim, right? But Yad Shamayim means it comes from the shoresh of Re'ah, to see, to be able to see God in your life. I can completely ignore God, and when do we sin? We sin, okay, God, I'm doing my thing, right? Or I say no. If God is really here, is really involved, I cannot do that. How can I, right? But that's the real Yad Shamayim.
So it's your whole life. He knows the beginning and the end, but he doesn't know in between. You have two options basically every way.
Right. He lets you, even though he could influence you and push you to do this part, he lets up to you to do. That's what you're going to be rewarded on the effort you have made to go between that choice or that choice to reach the end. So that's at the end of the day, we don't know exactly how it works, because if we knew, we would be God and we would understand. So what we know is nobody feels like he's forced to do anything, right? Unless your mother is behind you, but something like that, the Jewish mother. Don't go out with her. But we feel free. If I want now, I can slap you or not, right? And or slap myself, or take drugs, or go with this girl. I can do anything if I want. So I feel like I have free choice, and that's the part that I'm responsible, because we can all say, "Oh, God knows everything, so let me do whatever I want." It's not going to end up good for you, at the end of the day. So if there's a God, and he allows us to have free choice, because he says, "Etz Chaim." He tells you, who is the man? You choose life. I put in front of you life or death, connecting to me or not. It's up to you. And obviously, by him saying that, he's saying, I allow you to build your own self-worth. That's my gift to you, to be independent. So that's the idea. Now, going back a bit to prophecy. So we don't have prophecy today, but we have Ruach HaKodesh today. Okay. So people ask me that I go, Rabbi, how do I achieve prophecy or Ruach HaKodesh? Very easy. Step-by-step guide. Path of the Just. The Messias Yesharim. Are you familiar with Messias Yesharim?
Can't read that book.
Right? No, you have to read it with someone who knows how to read it.
Yeah, no, I get bored.
Yeah. No. You have to learn it with me.
Rabbi?
You have to be around
I
Panther.
love you, Rabbi, but that's not.
But actually, I don't read it with people.
It's not for you.
It's not to my standards.
Yeah. They're different. I'm telling you, the way people teach it and the way it's meant to be learned is very different.
I hear you. I just don't necessarily think that's for everybody.
No, actually, it is. But do you know that in this Messias Yesharim itself, it speaks actually to 3 different levels of people?
What happens in the 4th or the 5th?
No. There's no such a thing. Nah.
You're smart, you're stupid, or
There's 2 different smarts. The book smart and street smart, right?
Right. Yeah. So exactly.
the same person.
But the idea is the Messias Yesharim is telling you, right? It's from the Gemara. How do you achieve prophecy? So I'll read you from the he quotes the Gemara by Pinchas ben Yair. He says here in the Gemara Avodah Zara Chav Amud Beis. He says from here Rabbi Pinchas ben Yair said that Torah brings one to vigilance. Vigilance brings to alacrity. Alacrity brings to spiritual cleanliness. Cleanliness brings to abstinence. Abstinence to purity. Purity to piety. Chassidus. Piety to humility. Humility to yiras chet, fear of sin, or to be in awe of sin, and yiras chet to kedusha, which brings one to divine inspiration, ruach hakodesh, and ruach hakodesh. If you're interested to go further, you can even resurrect the dead. Anyone interested in resurrecting the dead? Well, it's a gift that comes with it.
Can I become Jesus too?
Right, exactly. We can do the same thing that Jesus did. That's supposed some people that people forget. Oh yeah, but Jesus did that and that. Well, we did too. No, my grandma used to do it.
No, we did it too. You know how I know we did too?
What?
We created Jesus.
Yes, we Jews would bring our own, confusion ourselves. But so we have here a step-by-step book telling you how to shape prophecy. So we know now to be a common prophet. It's basically the main work is midot work. Work on your character traits. So says Rabbi Chaim Vital in Sha'arei Kedusha, in case of holiness. Sha'arei Kedusha, for those who want, that's a translation in English, but the Hebrew is, obviously ideal to really understand. It's an introduction on how to achieve Ruach HaKodesh and prophecy. And he gives exercise, but it comes with knowledge. The Rambam says, who can be a prophet? You have to be wise, you have to be rich, you have to be strong of character.
There are plenty of prophets that weren't rich.
Right, so it's not rich with money. Ezeu Osher, Sameach Becheto.
Grateful.
Yeah, but that's a prophet for sure is going to have that. Prophet, he's already on such a high level.
Right, but it's understanding.
Like you're saying nothing. It's
It's wealthy in the sense that on different level. Meaning you have the way one rabbi explains it is that it means you have to be looked up for something. Meaning you have to have a type of royalty. Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi, he was very rich. He was very rich. He was not a prophet, but ideal. Sometimes we get a confusion. Oh, rabbi, they're meant to be poor. No, not meant to be poor. And we're meant to be rich and holy, ideally, both. Meaning the richness of life. They're supposed to be wise. We're supposed to learn all the wisdom. The Vilna Gaon was very clear on that. You have to learn science, astronomy, biology, languages. People from the Sanhedrin, right? They had to learn 17 languages. They had to understand all the Avodah Zarah, all the black magic, all the astrology, all the things, because the Sanhedrin was here to judge the world technically, right? Whenever there was a question, what does God want? And that's it. So you have to know the people, you have to know the culture, you have to know.
So were they prophets or no?
So yes, some of the people of the Anshe Knesset Agdola, like we know, Mordechai was in part of it, and of the Anshe Knesset Agdola. He was not a prophet though.
He was a prophet. I think he lost his prophecy.
He was
and
the
got
Ruach
mad
HaKodesh.
about something.
He had Ruach HaKodesh. And then he does well. But the way you said Ruach HaKodesh is the lowest level of prophecy. You know how many levels of prophecy there are?
I'm sorry, how many levels? 49.
No.
50. Exactly.
No. I actually have a black hole right now. I know someone explained that there's 3 levels, but I thought there were more. There were 10 levels of. Okay, I don't know why now it came out of my mind. I have to watch my previous videos about it. But yeah, I know some Rabbi Zimmerman who gave me smicha actually. He said there were 3 levels, I believe. So, but the different levels. What is clear is that one needs to climb up the ladder of the prophecy, and this depends. So it says like that: the abundance of the Ruach HaKodesh depends descends in order to rest upon a man. Meaning it's coming. There's a flow, we have like a flower trying to catch the sun. If the man is a sinner who transgressed the 365 negative commandments, that damages the nefesh, the soul, as was explained in the first part, and his Yetzer Hara acts as a masach, as a curtain. There's a filter. Your soul comes with filters. Those filters is your Yetzer Hara. The more you work on yourself, the more you climb the ladder of character traits, the more you have a chance to have access to knowledge that others cannot have, okay? Because you're able to come to a level close to Malachim. So the Rambam says, when you start achieving prophecy, your soul mingles with the lowest level of angels called the Ishim, the 10 levels of angels. And the Ishim is the lowest level. Yeah, it's like men, because they could technically look like men. So they're the closest to what mankind is. And we know Malachim know past, present, and future. That's why whether demons or holy angels, you can, when you speak to them, so it's easier to connect to demons because they have what?
Bodies.
No, not necessarily. Not all of them. It's just because it's the dark forces. It's much easier to become dark through seeing. So it's much easier if you want access to information from the dark forces. And in many opinions, the Illuminatis and all those people, they're connected to those things behind, closed doors. We don't know really what's happening, but many hold that the few top leaders in the world do that type of stuff, that black magic to access this and to control the world.
Yeah.
It's
Is it possible to use black magic for good?
no.
It's not possible.
You might think at the beginning it was like,
learning
I want her to fall in love with
mastery.
me. You think it's good, but
Huh?
I want her to fall in love with me, or stuff like that.
No, I meant the other way. Like you learn it so you can use it against the bad people.
Oh yeah,
That's
you,
what I'm
you
saying.
can learn.
You
The
learn
the
black-
actually necessary you're gonna have to know all the black magic stuff to be able to judge it, and because sometimes it could be avodah zarah the way you do it. So So they have
What
to
makes
know
it black magic then? Why not just regular magic?
why what? Why not
Why is
regular?
it considered black? Because
No,
there's a lot of Azura?
No, because you're accessing the Sitra Ra, meaning forces without being ready for it. So it's like you're selling your soul to the devil, which means it's too hard to be a good husband. I'll just pay a prostitute and like I can. It's much harder to be a husband than to go out there and pay. Try to seduce a woman with holiness and wait till she's ready. It takes much more time. I mean, today I don't know, but it's much harder to go the shortcut is much easier. So that's why the world is taken by a lot of darkness, because most people don't want to they want to take the shortcut, easy pass, fast food. In France, you go to a restaurant, you have to wait 45 minutes for your
Also,
plate.
your restaurant 3 courses.
Right.
America, if you have 1 course in restaurant, you're crazy.
Yes.
45 minutes for what? For croissant?
No, not for croissant.
No, that's a starter. Then you
No.
then you get right away to start the
They're
meal.
going to lose their minds over there.
No, but for dinner in a restaurant, you have to wait about 45 minutes. It's
Yeah, we went to a restaurant in Italy, and we went with a few people, and we didn't really make a reservation. Of course, we told them to rush to go to the airport. They didn't understand what that meant really.
oh.
They had to.
They
One of the
didn't
people.
care.
No, the people didn't understand. One of the waitresses that was
Why you-
was a Israeli, or she was in America for a while. She had to explain to the elevators, no, they're actually going to catch their flight. Like they actually have to be out of here quickly.
So it's all you go on.
Because everybody is always on time, 3
Right.
4 hours.
They're
behind
the
them.
top of the world.
So why would you risk it though? For Italian.
We made a flight.
Made it so.
They helped us out.
Oh, they did.
We took them along.
Need some doggy bags to go.
So let's finish with a word about Ruach HaKodesh today. So this is what he says in his introduction. It's worth. So he says like that. Well, I'm not going to read the whole introduction; it's too long. But he said that there were people, Bnei Aliyah, who were looking to go after the ways of the prophet, right? but a lot of it has been lost. And he said, but no more, for also in our time I saw holy people who were worthy of Ruach HaKodesh. The nefesh becomes more and more refined until it reveals itself before the man and leads him in all the ways, these ways that are open to those who are worthy, even in these days. Meaning he's speaking like 500 years ago, okay? And we know that there are people like as much by Sfardim than Ashkenaz. You know, you had the Ben Ish Chai, you had the Baal Shem Tov, you had Vina Gaon, you had the Baba Sari, the Rav Kaduri, you had the Lubavitch Rebbe. Like, we have a lot of rabbis. It was clear that they had Ruach HaKodesh. Just your interaction with them, you know that they can read you. They knew who you were, where you come.
Is that Ruach HaKodesh, or that's reading someone's body?
No, that's what. Well, no, there's reading someone's body, and then there's Ruach HaKodesh. It's two different things. There are people. I know someone who I trained actually, someone from the FBI, how to read a face. I didn't really practice enough to remember, but basically you
No, if you learn to
No.
talk to people.
no, you just look at the forehead, the ears, the nose, the mouth, the eyes, and the chin. From all that, you can have already 90% of the personality of the person, what that person is usually going to do or not.
Oh yeah.
And then
Don't disagree with you.
right, and then the person is going to
You
lie.
make a mistake, not on purpose.
What?
You can also read people's personality traits.
Right. Right.
based on
And the body behavior also,
Body-
body language, absolutely. So he said, consequently, I decided to set free the ascetic, the people who wants to really achieve Ruach HaKodesh. Guys, it's for you. You came to become prophets, to support them and show them the road they should walk in. Therefore, I composed this treatise, Shalei Kedusha, a paper small in size but big in importance to the wise men. And I learned this secret from the Arizal. And since these are the mysteries and secrets of this world, I will reveal as much as a handbreadth, and I will cover as much as 1,000 cubits. So he's saying you that and the whole thing that he started in his book Shalei Kedusha is all about midos. And he says your mitzvos don't do anything about holiness to you. They're not going to make you holy or special or anything if you don't have good character traits. You're wasting your time. And it's scary because most people do plenty of mitzvot, but they have terrible character traits. And we need to reverse the whole system. So that's the challenge. And just to give you a few more quotes on Ruach HaKodesh today, listen to that. That's the Tana de Belial. It's one of the most famous quotes. Actually, Ruach HaKodesh, the Hamital quotes it. He says like that: men, women, children, Jews and non-Jews, all can receive Ruach HaKodesh. Everything depends on one's behavior and actions. Obviously, one needs purity and character traits refinement. It takes work, but it's available. So, right, that understanding that it's not just the Jews, right? Bilam was a prophet, and they could have had. They have people out there that are very non-Jews that are very holy, very pure, and it's clear that they have, they can see things or feel things. In America, we have been completely so desensitized of the world of spirituality of the Eastern world. In the past, you go 200 years ago, everybody believed in God, everybody believed in forces and all that. With the modernization and of society and technology and science, we have created almost
monsters.
Yeah, a monster, but in a world where we can disconnect from what the reality has always been, is that we live among forces, and say no, now it's just the stars, and what's just the stars? That means there's energy. There's the science is cause and effect and laws of nature. Yeah, laws of nature, Hateva, Gematria Elohim, the force of God. God uses those forces to. So we have made that illusionary world where, I don't need to take responsibility because there's no God. I don't have to be responsible for your world, God. I can do whatever I want, which they say the beginning of Avodah Zarah, the Rambam says, it started because they didn't want, my Avodah Zarah allows me to sleep with women and do drugs or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
My God, the big God there, no. so I'm going to go with that one, So yeah, it was to go away from any responsibility of I want to do whatever I want. But it's for our own detriment. So the Eshkodesh used to say that a person's selfness is what prevents divine inspiration. Therefore, when a person is self-conscious and his ego thoughts are flowing, it is unlikely that he will receive an inspiration. So the idea is that today, and the Vinagan also says it in Mishle, there is prophecy. Here it is. The source, Baba Basra, 12a, okay? It says, this is what Rabbi Avdimi meant to say. Even though prophecy was taken from the prophets, it was not taken from the sages. Later, it was stated also that it was given to fools and children. So fools are crazy or children. So yeah, that's Gematria Baba Basra.
Fool doesn't.
No, fools can have a few different meanings. I think it's the crazy people. You have to see what Rashi said exactly, but people who appear to be fools and not completely right. No, I don't think it means fools, just like illiterate. It means like people who are.
Doesn't mean like something wrong with him. You know how like there are claims that these autistic kids can like give you messages.
Well, no, yeah, that's possible, but that's not. I don't think that's prophecy. That's just those kids are connected naturally to. Basically, the more your soul is disconnected from your body, right? So obviously, like you say, your consciousness is disconnected from your brain. The more that means you have access to the spiritual. So therefore, they might have natural information that we won't have because they are naturally more connected. So they see the world and they perceive and they know things on level that we don't know. It doesn't mean that they have prophecy or something like that. So that would be a little bit different, unless one has a message to give to the world. That I've seen that there were books written for autistic kids says this is what I know and this is what we have to do and
Right.
okay. So I mean they are definitely very interesting.
Person who is like doesn't have one of his senses. Is that different?
They hear
Yeah,
better,
no, that's
see better.
that's
Different
different.
than
Yeah,
actual like.
that would be more like that would be different. Yeah. So the idea at the end is be working on your character traits. We have to remember we are meant to be prophets. This is the highest level of human being. Being a prophet is perfecting myself as a human being. It means living a life of holiness. It means living a life where I become the best of myself, intellectually, emotionally, biologically, physically, right, and spiritually. That's what we want to be, and why we want to be like that, because that's the greatest joy that you can agree. You understand? When you achieve prophecy, it's an ecstatic experience. Why people like to go in trance? Because it's like you take LSD or stuff like that. It is good. It feels good to achieve prophecy,
Right.
even though you lose your body thing. But it's the kiss of God. It's so to speak. There's something very powerful, and our soul wants that. And so besides working on character traits and learning a lot about everything, sciences and Torah, is praying, learning how to pray, how to use the Siddur, how to understand that there's different sections in the Siddur to go from one level of consciousness to the other. All this is going to be part of the learning on how I can access the spiritual world with my soul while in this world. The Baal Shem Tov and many others says that Gan Eden is here. You just have to access it. Your soul is here, right? or you don't see it because you haven't learned to see, or you haven't been pure enough to see it. But you will go to the Arizal, he will read you, he'll see your soul, say, oh, what happened here? It looks like you had there's some people who can do that today. They see you have darker energy here, or more reddish. Did you have an accident when you were a kid? You fell? And most of the time they're correct because you can see the aura of a person. But so we know people have capabilities. All the X-Men thing, right? That's just a glimpse of what we are. That's what they call it, the ex-Jews. Because we have superpower, not just the Jews, non-Jews too, but we as Jews, we're supposed to be role model in that domain of spirituality, and we have something called the Torah that gives us access to the deeper knowledge, the pure form of knowledge, and that's what we're supposed to transmit the nation to the nation through role modeling or through prophecy, and God willing, we know we'll hope to achieve that in our generation, because I'm not planning on dying until Moshiach comes, so just saying. All right, any questions?
Very good. When one does drugs, right?
Yeah.
So how does it? It's not the same as prophecy, obviously.
No.
But what's the reaction that brings it to similar?
Right. So sometimes it's chemical, but the idea is some say that. Again, there are different opinions about it. Sometimes it opens certain filters that you usually, you say you cannot see demons. I mean, the Gemara says if you want to see demons, I'll tell you how to do it. Black cat, right? Or the ashes. So we know there are things. So sometimes those drugs enables you to unveil and see for a few minutes or hours.
It's true.
Yeah.
Accurate.
Well, I don't think with all the drugs. I think certain drugs, yes, enables you to create remove
it's real.
filter.
Like it's not just his imagination.
It's
or
it's very easy.
Movies, like today, we were like, how did they even come up with this?
Right.
Like the Matrix. How did someone come up with the Matrix?
Right. So right.
Right.
So, and a lot of it they learn from Kabbalah. If you, yeah.
Kabbalah, those guys.
Yeah. Because they wrote the thing.
They learn Kabbalah.
You'll be surprised how many people go into the Jewish Kabbalistic stuff to
think
bring
the drugs that are popped in their head.
No. Because I've researched. They say they learn. I forgot now. It has been a long time ago. But it's now sometimes things come in their heads, and I believe sometimes God sends messages through people, and they make movies, and we are like that as they try to wake us up. But what was I saying before? What?
Open up.
Yeah. So for example, you take something like ayahuasca or DMT or stuff like that, or some say LSD, mushrooms. Sometimes it can. So I don't know which one. Well, DMT and ayahuasca is meant to be apparently the most pure, one of the purest form of healing thing. But again, it depends. There's many different. I didn't know that before because I started studying a lot about ayahuasca because of being I wanted to do it.
No, I'm not saying.
There's many different types of ayahuasca. Many different types.
I'll tell you something.
What do you mean in the beginning?
No, I'll tell you something
You
about.
said in the beginning I wanted to do it.
Yeah, because
When you were younger or recently?
No, recently. Because
I'm not saying
it's
to do it
natural.
one time. So there's a couple people that went. Some people said it's something you're supposed to do once in your life to have a revelation, and it
Once
makes
in
you
a-
see things that you don't.
Right.
Some people take
Is
it every
that black
single week.
magic then? Would you
Right,
would one
yeah.
say-
That's the problem.
Yeah, that's
Would
I'm not
one
saying
say
to try
that's
one-
maybe black magic?
what?
Maybe someone could say that it's like black magic.
But it's not.
Like
No,
in the
no,
Same sphere.
No, it's not. No, it's very different than the whole ritual is really. It's called a healing plant.
Or is it okay, or you're not supposed to?
But you see the difference between ayahuasca and the other stuff. In ayahuasca, you're really seeing the truth of life. You're not seeing anything like necessarily the future or the past. It's more about who you really are, how you really feel inside, and what is the real state of the world. It's not so much.
But how do you know that's accurate? How do you know it's not?
When you have prophecy and you know it, and you know it's prophecy. That's what they say. It's it's like when you see her, you know she's the one. Something like
I
that.
was told that you don't know who's the one. You decide.
No. With marriage, it's a joke. I don't think you usually know it's the one.
That's my mistake. Like this is what I believe. And then even I've heard it recently that I don't remember who said it, but it's not about figuring out if it's the feeling, if it's the one.
Right.
It's more about deciding.
Yeah,
this is the one
absolutely.
that
Very true. Very
you're
true.
gonna
Yeah,
make
if we
a
just go for
commitment
with
to it.
feelings, we're not going to go far. All right, thank you everyone. To be continued.